thepascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
What's up? Tension is definitely rising in the streets. But the question I have here is, we got this video and this tweet by Jason Whitlock. He put out a thing, and this is something that's very interesting. One thing is for sure. The footage from Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf's interaction, and of course, the last moment that Austin Metcalf was seen alive, will definitely be out here. It's definitely going to be out here for everyone to see. But the question still remains, is it going to cause some sort of outrage by a certain group of people? Now, hear me out. Like, I personally don't think so. I really don't. But there are people that are believing that there could cause some sort of uprising of white people going crazy in the streets, riots and all that, solely because of what is depicted in the video between the interaction with Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf, right? So he put up this tweet, and like I said, I thought this was a very interesting conversation, and I feel like sometimes people want to, over dramatize, certain situations for the sake of, I don't even know what the sake is. Okay, what the sake is for, just to cause more tension in the streets or cause more controversy. I just don't know. All right. But I do think that I don't agree with this. All right. And I hope that I am right with my opinion. I hope that he's wrong with this, because I don't want to see this happen in the streets. Not at all. So let's take a look at this. He says, once the video of the interaction between Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf is released, there's going to be outrage. I believe this video is intended to trigger white people in the way that George Floyd upset black people. Now, here it is. He says, I believe this is intended to trigger white people. Why would it be like, see, that's some weird conspiracy theory, right? Why would they, whoever they are, hold out on this information to trigger white people to go into the same way that people were acting, with George Floyd in 2020? Now, again, when it comes to the George Floyd situation, we've talked about that ad nauseum, okay, on this show. So you clearly know where I stand on that whole situation. I do not agree with rioting. I do not agree with destroying people's homes and destroying businesses and your own local businesses or businesses in general, and all that. I feel like you can get your voice heard by just standing together in solidarity and doing your protest by using your voice. And doing that all together in unison. But there are bad actors out there that are willing to cause chaos and throw Molotov cocktails and just lose their minds for just so that they can create chaos. Now, when it comes to this, he's basically saying, oh yeah, they're holding out on this footage because once this footage gets out, it's going to get angry. It's going to get white people angry. They're going to be so heated, you're not even going to know what to do with yourself. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. Let's take a listen to this. Let's rock and roll. I'm going to be hopping in and out for, fair use and, interaction and all that, or reaction. I'm sorry, commentary. So let's rock and roll.
They're going to release the video of what happened to Austin Metcalf. And I think they believe that's going to be the spark. And it's been, I said it from the outset, that my belief, this is off my journalistic instincts, that when that video is released, it's going to be so one-sided and look so bad for Karmelo Anthony and the people that supported Karmelo Anthony. And it's what they want it to be is as triggering as the George Floyd video was in 2020.
Now, let me just say something really quick. Like I just said earlier, who they? Who is they? That's what I want to know. Like I said, I feel like this has kind of gone into a conspiracy theory world. Oh, they want you to be triggered. They want to trigger these white people into an uprising. Really? Are we sure about that? Like I said, I know that there's a lot of people that feel some type of way about this case. I get it. And here it is. I've said it a million times. Wait for the evidence. Wait for the information. Wait for the video, at least, to drop before you come up with your full-on decision on what you think, whether this kid is innocent or guilty, or actually whether you think this is self-defense or if he straight up M'd him. Because let's be real, he did take this kid's life. He did take Austin Metcalf's life. That's without question. He's already admitted to it. He is the man. He is the young man that did that. That is for sure. But as far as everything else, wait for the evidence to come out before you start dying on that hill. Now, I get it. There's a lot of people that are very much have their own racial or political bias when it comes to this whole situation. And I still say the same thing. Wait for the evidence. But he said this. Once it comes out, it's going to be clear as day that Karmelo did what he did. How do we know that? I'm sorry for saying that, but I'm gonna be asking because I'm an inquisitive mother lover. I'm gonna ask those questions. How does he know that we're gonna be able to see as clear as day that Karmelo Anthony was most definitely emming Austin Metcalf? What if the situation is different? What if the shoe is on the other foot? What if it is, you can see clear as day that it's him protecting himself, defending himself, and it is self-defense? You just don't know. We don't know because we haven't seen the footage yet. So again, when we start sitting here going, oh gosh, once it comes out, everybody's going to be losing their doggone minds. We don't know that for sure. We don't know because we haven't seen the footage yet. But I also get scared about this part too, that the footage won't be as clear as day and that it'll still be muffled. Right? It'll be hella digitized or super blurry or something of that sort where people are going to sit there and they're going to create even more. They're going to sit even more to their narrative even more because they can't see everything. So they're going to sit there and say, oh yeah, absolutely. Karmelo was defending himself. And what if he wasn't defending himself? Right? But they're going to still move the goalpost into their side of the narrative to give them some peace of mind. Or on the other side, right? There's going to be people who are going to sit there and say, oh no, he straight up M'd him. How dare he? May he rot in prison. And it's like, wait a second. We can't tell what actually happened in the footage. Remember, we don't know what the footage looks like. Now, if it's as clear as George Floyd's footage or as clear as Kyle Rittenhouse's footage, that's another conversation in itself. But you know for a fact, there are going to be people who are going to stand on either side, regardless if it's fuzzy or if you can see the action so clearly that you can watch it from space. Okay? So again, who is they? Who'd they be?
When people saw that video, particularly without any context, George Floyd and the drugs he had ingested, without all the resistance of police early on, and you just watched that final 8 minutes, it was so triggering. Out of context, it was so triggering that we had the summer of George Floyd riots, the summer of love in honor of St. George Floyd. I believe this video is intended to trigger white people.
Now, again, I want to know what he means by it's intended to trigger white people. I don't think it's intended to trigger anybody except for give people the information that they absolutely need. Here's the thing. If they really wanted to trigger white people, they should have already put this out a long time ago. Let's keep it a bean, y'all. This would have already been out if they really wanted to get people really riled up. They've held this back for various reasons. Do I really think that the media is trying to cover things up and not put this stuff out here? No. I think that law enforcement and whatever are holding this very tightly to the chest because I think a lot of minors are involved. A lot of minors are in the video. At least their faces are depicted in the video. There's probably a lot of redaction of some sort or, censoring, if you will, that needs to happen before any of the footage is actually leaked. I think that there's a lot of factors to put in here. Again, I just don't see how this is all put together, stacked up in a way to try to get people, white people especially, ticked off so that they can go out there in the streets and demonstrate. and start riots like the George Floyd demonstrations and riot that swiftly turned into riots. But again, like I said, really now, really, I just don't agree with that. But let's continue on. I just don't agree with that, y'all. Let's continue.
And to so repulse them that they just say, man, all these black people that done supported Karmelo Anthony, this media that wouldn't tell us the truth about this Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf, this media that has imposed this racist double standard. This is the line in the sand. We've elevated this Karmelo Anthony. This is in my view, from afar, and maybe I'm wrong.
Now, I feel is wrong, but I will say this too. It's already happened, baby. Has it not already happened? People did show up to a Protect White Americans protest. That did actually happen, y'all. There was already a demonstration that happened where people actually showed up, watched the guy stand on top of a MAGA-wrapped bus, talking to 17 people, saying that, hey, stop messing with black people, and black people need to stop messing with white people, and the violence we've had enough of the violence, right? We all saw that. Remember that guy? Also, the guy running for Senate, if I'm correct, in Florida. Yeah, same dude. Okay? So we've already had people showing up and doing some sort of demonstration already. Like I said, I don't think them holding back the footage is in some sort of way trying to anger a group of people. Like that, as soon as it drops, it's just suddenly it's going to be, everybody is going to be, white people are going to be up in arms, and then all of a sudden start marching out. Okay, the time's now. I just don't see that. But let's continue on.
And I will not be bothered if I'm wrong, but this seems so simple. 17-year-old boy sitting under a tent. Someone asks you to leave. You get static from another 17-year-old. Maybe a punch should have been thrown or two. But stabbing in the heart, this is cold-blooded murder. This is a simple case of someone overreacting to a verbal conflict. A simple case. I feel disrespected. Let me overreact. We've seen this play out in urban communities time and time and time again.
And in suburban communities as well. We've seen it happen on both sides. Let's be real. Okay, maybe we hear a lot more about them on the news that happen in the city, but these kind of altercations, not this type of altercation, but altercations happen all over the world, all over the place. But let's continue.
Between teenage boys, I'm disrespected, I shoot and kill you. I'm disrespected, we beat you into a pulp and you die. This is what goes on. The only thing different here is it's in the suburbs in Frisco, Texas, and it's a black boy doing what young black boys have been doing to other young black boys for years. And when the video gets released, people will be like, I want no parts of that behavior. I want no parts of people that have tried to defend that behavior.
Now, he is not wrong with that on that part. He's not wrong with that. That there are going to be people that are literally probably, if it shows that Karmelo Anthony was actually just taking Austin Metcalf's life, I'm not surprised if they go back to Give, Send, Go and basically say, can I get some of my money back? In fact, can I get all my money back? That's possible. They're going to see it and go, oh, damn, that is a straight up M. He most definitely took that kid's life. Let's be real. If the footage shows that, there's going to be a lot of people that are either going to stand, like I said, stand 10 toes down on the information that whatever they believe. They're going to be like, nope, I refuse to be wrong. I refuse the idea of being wrong. That's still possible too. But do I see this starting some sort of upheaval, some sort of uprising in the streets? White people out there just losing their doggone minds? I just don't see it. Now, yes, he said something earlier that I agree with. Man, do I wish that these kids just went into a fist fight. Now, I don't condone that kind of violence either. There's a way to talk things out. And yes, I know, oh my God, boys talking about their feelings, goo. But at the same time, though, I wish kids would find a way to talk to each other and get through their differences through verbal altercations rather than physical altercations. That's just my personal opinion. I wish there was more conflict resolution going on in these streets. And if there was more of that, maybe Austin Metcalf would still be alive today. Like I said, I've said before, I still don't understand why Karmelo Anthony still showed up with a knife. I still don't get it. Still don't understand why that knife was even in the place at that track meet in the first place. But at the same time, if he was protecting himself, if it was self-defense, I want to see the evidence of that. And I think a lot of us that are still, who have been sitting on the fence, sitting on the sidelines as well, waiting and just watching people just go at each other toe to toe in these internet chat forums and these internet streets. I think you all agree, who are with me, would all agree that we're just waiting for the evidence to show. And once the evidence shows, we'll be like, oh, damn, he did that. Woo, he really did that. That's a damn shame. Or, wow, that was self-defense. That's possible. But again, riots in the streets by white people, race riots, etc. I don't think so. But then again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong a million times before in my life. This wouldn't be the first time. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Yes, this footage is going to be a bombshell for sure. Once that footage does come out, yes, it is going to shake the world. Every person that has been following this, we all will be taken aback. We will be shook, regardless if it's self-defense that shows proof positive of self-defense, or if it shows proof positive of straight up M. It's still going to shake us all. But will it cause more chaos or cause chaos in the streets? I hope not. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Crush that subscribe button. And we'll talk here soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.